Okay, welcome Multnomah Village to week 92, Justice for Qadira. We are grateful to be back. And we are going to start with talking about Passover because it's Passover today. Me and my husband set these rallies up, as you all know, a long time ago. We've been doing this for over 2 years. So everything is just kind of landing on rally days. So we're going to be out here for Passover. We'll be out here for Good Friday. And then we will also be out here next Wednesday, April 12th, for week 93, which is also the anniversary of the burning of our daughter. So it's going to be a hard week because we are also commemorating the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. So I wanted to read this to just kind of kick off Rally today, because I don't know that people are very connected to their religions anymore, so maybe they don't even know what Passover is. So let's talk about it. Okay, here we go. I found this article in Women's Day. I thought it was pretty good. What is the meaning of Passover? What to know about this holy Jewish holiday? While the end of the calendar is considered the holiday season for many, the first few months of the year are also filled with a number of important religious observances for different faiths. Passover in Judaism is one such holiday which falls in the spring. The meaning of Passover, or Pesach, in Hebrew, is to commemorate the Israelites' exodus from ancient Egypt. In the story, which comes from the Torah, Moses is commanded by God to free his fellow Hebrews from slavery under the Pharaoh. When the Pharaoh refuses, God unleashes 10 plagues on the Egyptians. The Israelites' homes were passed over during the last and most punishing plague, hence the name of the holiday. Today, Passover is celebrated with 2 traditional meals called seders on the first 2 nights of the holiday. Seder translates to order in Hebrew because there is a ritual order that is followed in every respect, from the order of prayers and songs to the sequence of specific foods eaten. The Seder is full of symbolism, history, and traditional foods. It centers around retelling the story of the Jews leaving Egypt, read from the special book called the Haggadah. Those who observe Passover also eat matzo, a special unleavened flatbread, both during the Seders and throughout the week-long holiday. Passover's meaning touches on values and lessons that continue to be relevant and topical regardless of one's faith. It is essentially a festival of freedom and justice. Rabbi Daniel Askow, CEO of Online Jewish Learning, tells Women's Day, part of the reason why Passover is understood and appreciated by so many, regardless of their religious background, is that the core of the holiday is about justice for all. It's about helping the downtrodden and persecuted find freedom. We remember that we were once slaves in Egypt and that it's our responsibility to help others in similar situations. I hope people are listening. As Askow communicates, you do not have to be a member of the Jewish faith in order to appreciate the meaning behind this holy and sacred holiday. From learning more about the significance of the holiday to how it is observed, here's everything you need to know about Passover in 2023 and beyond. The Passover story occurs in the book of Exodus in the Torah, the first 5 books of the Old Testament. A central story, it reflects many prevalent themes in Jewish history, including oppression and the yearning for freedom, the resilience of the Jewish people and the protection given by God, and the importance of a Jewish homeland. Through the annual retelling of the Passover story, Jews reflect on how their ancestors survived adversity, as well as the challenges that contemporary Jews continue to face in 2023. Passover lasts for 8 days for most conservative and Orthodox Jews living outside of Israel. Jews living in Israel, as well as Reform Jews worldwide, typically observe Passover for 7 days. The exact date of Passover changes every year because the Jewish calendar is lunisolar, rather than following the 365-day solar cycle of the Gregorian calendar. Passover starts on the 15th and ends on the 21st or the 22nd outside of Israel, day of the Hebrew month of Nisan. In 2023, Passover begins the evening of Wednesday, April 5th, and ends the evening of Thursday, April 13th. During Passover, Jews eat matzo, a special type of unleavened flatbread. Eating any kind of leavened bread or bread product is forbidden during Passover. Boy, they can't even behave during Passover. How disrespectful. Come on, Multnomah Village, let's keep it together. This is a sacred holiday for your neighbors. Hello? Sheesh. When the Jewish people were escaping slavery in Egypt, they didn't have a lot of time to prepare. Escau explains of the holiday's unique parameters regarding carbs. They couldn't wait for their bread to rise, so they put it on their backs and fled. A part of our retelling of the Passover story, we only eat matzah and other unleavened foods. Depending on where you or your family are from, you may also eat rice and legumes, Escau notes. For example, many Jews in Middle Eastern countries like Syria and Iran continue consuming rice throughout Passover and traditionally will check rice 3 times for accidental grains of wheat in the mix before consuming it during the holiday. Aside from differing stances on if rice and legumes are considered kosher for Passover, most forms of carbs are off the table. We don't eat any barley, rye, wheat, oats, or spelt. It's a great time to be gluten-free, says Escau. There are a number of unique Passover traditions that are observed during the holiday. One is reading aloud from the Haggadah, a Jewish text that recalls the Passover story. We read the story with family and friends to remember what it felt like to be slaves in Egypt, Escau explains. Another tradition is inviting and welcoming a stranger to your Seder table, which is consistent with the Passover theme of being welcoming. Another part of the Passover Seder is reciting the 4 questions. The youngest person at the Seder recites the 4 questions. Escau says, the 4 questions ask, what is so different from this night from all other nights? During the Seder, the tradition of hiding the afikomen, aka the middle piece of the matzah, also takes place. Early on in the Seder, the afikomen is broken in half. The bigger piece is wrapped in a napkin and hidden somewhere in the house, usually by the adult leading the Seder. After the meal, younger participants of the Seder are encouraged to search for it, and the winner may be rewarded with a small prize. The use of a Seder plate during the Passover meal is a key Passover tradition. The Seder plate is a physical representation of the Passover story and contains 6 things that are essential to the Seder experience, Escau says. Each item has a meaning to remind us about different parts of the story. Those 6 items are, and I'm probably going to mispronounce them, but charoset, a sweet mixture of nuts, apples, and wine to represent the mortar that the slaves made to put between bricks. Karpas, parsley dipped in salt water to recall the tears shed in Egypt. Maror, bitter herbs, typically horseradish to represent the bitterness of slavery. Zeroa, a lamb shank bone to represent the sacrificial lamb offered by the Israelites at the Holy Temple. Bietza, a hard-boiled and roasted egg still in its shell to represent the sacrifice once offered at the holy table. It also represents rebirth. Besides an intact egg on the Seder plate, some families eat a mixture of chopped hard-boiled eggs mixed with salt and water. Chazaret, a bitter lettuce or root vegetable, often romaine lettuce, to represent the pain felt in Egypt. A modern addition to some Seder plates is an orange that symbolizes the fruitfulness that brings marginalized people together, Escau notes. The roundness of the orange represents people that weren't represented in the original Passover story, such as women and the LGBTQ community. During the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, Passover celebrations over the past 3 years have looked different. As Escau pointed out, online Haggadahs and Zoom Seders, also known as Zeders, were also used to help people feel more connected during the holiday. In 2023, many families may feel more comfortable coming together to celebrate Passover safely with vaccinated friends and loved ones in larger groups. Whether your Seder is virtual or in real life this year, the meaning of Passover remains the same. The essence of Passover is to celebrate our freedom with the people who are important to us, Escau says. It doesn't matter if it's in person or online, as long as you can tell the story together. Okay, so that is an interesting story, and now we kind of all know what Passover is, because I don't think people know what it is. I live in a Jewish community, but I'm not getting help like you would think the Jews would give me and my husband, really. So it's complicated because, of course, we've been up here before and we've talked about our daughter's story a lot, and everybody knows here that she didn't get any treatment in the hospital. So Qadira really was tortured, and we witnessed that because we had to take care of her. So this is a somber time in our neighborhood, and I mean, I'm hoping people are going to, wash their hearts and get respectful, but I don't know when that's going to happen. One other housekeeping issue is I basically have had a run-in with this women's rights activist, Posey Parker. I believe she's a Nazi. She was very nasty to me. She's supposed to be a women's rights activist. I called her, I tried to contact her specifically, because I am out here speaking, and it would have been nice to get her help, but she called me nobody, and then she blocked me. And now her followers are harassing me. So on top of everything else, I've got her online followers harassing me because apparently not only am I supposed to put up with my daughter being abused and tortured, but I'm also supposed to have to deal with Posey's guard dogs. So they're out and about, and I just like everybody in the community to keep a watchful eye, because I think those are the people that are going to try to bring some violence, if any violence were to ever occur. We are trying to keep these rallies peaceful, so we ask everybody who's listening to stay peaceful, please. So that's just an issue that's going on. I was also very rudely attacked by one of Posey's guard dog the other day and called an anti-Semite because I pointed out that the media is not covering our story. And I said, I believe the media is being run by Nazis. And somebody pointed out to me that apparently a lot of people who run the media claim to be Jewish. Now, I don't know who those people are. People put on all kinds of costumes on this planet. They pretend to be all kinds of things. They shapeshift like you wouldn't believe. So I'm not going to, I didn't get into it with that person. But I grew up in this community. I went to the Jewish Community Center. I have many Jewish neighbors and friends. I mean, I basically am Jewish in a way because this is where I've been my entire life. So I didn't appreciate the accusation. And I don't think it's the Jewish people covering up this story. So that's all I have to say. I think it's people in the media. And like I said, I don't know who those people are. I think they're wearing a costume because we have been blacked out everywhere. I mean, we can't even get a local story written, which is just bizarre. Now I'm going to give it to my husband.
To agree with my wife, I don't think that the people running the media are Jewish, because I believe that Jews actually believe in God, and the people running our media, they don't. That's clear.
No, we just saw today, I think it was today, I saw on Twitter that the Catholic Church is now partnering with Balenciaga to peddle their wares. Balenciaga was just caught recently promoting BDSM with children. I mean, they photographed children. So the Catholic Church says they share their values, so share away. That's totally disgusting to me. I would never, ever don myself in Balenciaga after what they did. But I see a lot of people doing it.
Folks, I kind of want to bring it back to this whole Passover thing. If justice, what is justice? What does that really mean? Okay? Folks, justice really is about coming to terms with the truth. That is what justice is about. And that is what we are up here fighting for. We are up here to helpfully encourage people to be responsible and to come to terms with and acknowledge what happened here. Okay, because it was irresponsible.
And it was horrific, and it was a crime. I mean, a small child, an innocent child, was tortured in this community, and that's not going to go away. I mean,
folks, you cannot get rid of your problems by blinking them away.
Right.
You cannot get rid of your problems by ignoring them. There are people here who believe that we should not be out here talking. Okay, but how are you supposed to know what's going on in your community if you don't hear about it? So it is our responsibility, we feel, to get out here and continue to inform you about what happened here in this community. And we also want to inform you about how irresponsible the people that are running your community are. Because they don't care about what's important, what actually matters. And what really does matter? What's real? I think that we have earned the right to ask this question. What is real? Okay? We have earned the right to question the foundation of our society. What is real, folks? Yes, we do. I gotta go to
we
job. I gotta go to my job right after this.
Own time,
but
own
we
time.
make time for you guys because we care about you. Okay.
We make time.
And we're not gonna leave you alone.
We live in this community.
We are not gonna leave you alone. Okay,
we get this question a lot. So let me just get it all answered for you. Me and my husband have jobs. We take care of ourselves. We've been taking care of our family. So there's plenty of accusations going around that we're not busy, but
no, we are extremely busy.
We're really
folks.
busy, and
my wife's a caregiver. I'm a carpenter. Okay,
yeah, we're really busy.
That's what we do.
And we don't take donations. So when we say we're busy, we mean busy, because this has not been an easy thing for us to do. This fight has been very, very difficult. And Tuesday we will be celebrating 16 years trying to get this acknowledged.
Folks, I want to go back to what I was saying. Okay? We can challenge the foundation of our society. What is real? Folks, the only thing that is real is life. And it is non-negotiable. Either exists or it doesn't. And that is our choice. We get to make a choice as a race of human beings living on this planet as to whether or not life exists here or it doesn't. Okay? That is the only thing that is real. That is the only thing that is non-negotiable. Okay? Everything else is completely projected by us. Okay? Everything else is completely made up. And so, when I'm talking about the foundation of our society, what is the foundation of our society? Folks, unfortunately, we have made the foundation of our society something that is not life. We have made the foundation of our society something that doesn't actually exist. And why? I'm not exactly sure. I think it has a lot to do with control. But we have made the foundation of our society this agreement of money.
That's the thing.
Okay, that's all money is. Money is an agreement.
That's the thing.
And it is completely negotiable.
That's the thing. People need to understand that we do need to start talking about the money and the way it's being used, because what we have right now with the wealthy elites is a large concentration, and what they're doing is just ordering everybody around with it, but they're basically ordering us all to hell, and we need to stop following them around. It's just like what I said with the Catholic Church. I mean, they're partnering with Balenciaga for money. They don't care if the company is involved in pedophilia or harming children or any of it. So, and that is what we see with so many industries today, is it doesn't matter how disgusting somebody is. People just give them money anyway. A prime example is Phil Knight and Nike. He built his company on the backs of child slaves, and, no apology for that. It's
that seems to be fine with everybody.
This is just $1 billion company, and everybody celebrates this, and it's not okay, because it's not justice. It's not freedom. It's exactly, what the Hebrews were running from. You know what I mean? So it's like we need to start reflecting on our current society, not just looking to the past and just mindlessly applying tradition, because things are happening all the time. Like right now, we should have way more support than we have. Although I want to say thank you to the people that are stepping up and giving support, because it is starting to happen, and I do think we're going to turn this ship around. It just depends on, more people making the individual choice to share what is actually happening in this community, and to actually start seeking justice in an appropriate way. Because the fact of the matter is there should be some coverage of this. The fact that we are not getting covered, that doesn't embarrass me and my husband, but it should embarrass the people who are not covering us, because this just looks bad. Friday,
it doesn't look good for this community, folks.
It doesn't look good for the media and the people who own the media. I'm sorry. We will have had 100. We will be on week 120 on Friday, and still we can't even get a local article. So that says a lot about what the media is peddling. There's a lot of hate being peddled in the media. One of the reasons Posey Parker's guard dogs are after me is because, she put a video out on Portland, and she said that, all the trans people and all the trans activists here are violent, and that any woman who ever tried to open her mouth here would be murdered in the streets, and that is absolutely not true. Okay, so I have stood up to this woman. I won't have her, belittling members of my community and being dishonest all over the media, because she's got a real loud microphone and she's spreading hate. And, she's going to sit there and call me nobody when clearly I've been out here for 2.5 years. So, like I said, people are masquerading as a lot of things. They masquerade as women's rights leaders. They masquerade as popes. They masquerade as whatever, and it's time for people to start taking accountability for their actions, period, and who they truly are. So that's something we all need to be reflecting on, seriously, because this world is pretty much headed to hell, right?
No, it's not just headed there. We are there, folks. We're stirring in it.
Right.
Okay.
But the thing is when I say headed, I mean we can go further. You think people can't drop any further? But when I saw the Catholic Church partner with Balenciaga today, I just thought, oh, how low can you go? You know what I'm saying? And trust me, you can always go lower. And, when you do bad things, all I can say is when you die, you're going to have to face God. And if you can't face God, well, then you're going to be in hell. You're going to hell, but not because God sent you there. It's because you're going to choose to go there because you can't face God. That's what I really honestly believe. Because the planet, the behavior on this planet is horrific. I mean,
it's reprehensible, folks.
You have people freaking out because, maybe a man looks like a woman and a woman looks like a man, or this and that and the other. But I see a lot of adults, they look like adults, but they're children.
They are children, folks. And we have $150 billion a year business here of buying and selling people.
Yeah,
actual people.
The sex trafficking industry is a complete embarrassment for planet Earth. I mean,
for humanity.
$150 billion business.
That's a lot of money, folks.
It's protected by law enforcement. It's awfully shameful. I mean, me and my husband have witnessed the vicious way that these people will protect pedophiles. And it's not okay. Also, I did want to say, we here at Justice for Qadira, we are calling, and I want to make sure I say this at every rally, for Pastor J.W. Matt Hennessy to step down, because he's a pedophile.
And he should not be a pastor, folks.
He should not be a pastor.
He should not be providing spiritual direction for anyone.
Right, and unfortunately, he's a police liaison for the black community, and
it's not helping them.
No, and really, he needs to go do his time. That's the way I look at it. People need to just, if you're doing bad things, cuff yourself, walk yourself down to the police station, take responsibility for yourself, because it's better to do that now than later. That's all I'm saying.
And folks, for the people who think that we're going to be punished for doing what we're doing, first of all, folks, the First Amendment trumps any noise ordinance, that the city may have, And I want to let you know that your tax dollars are being used in an inappropriate manner, not just because of what happened here, Not just because of this, but because police officers are being paid to come give us fake citations. They're fake. Yeah. They're fake. They're not real. The DA is not pressing any charges against us, They're just coming down to harass us and make themselves look like they are doing something. Yeah. But they are wasting your time and your hard-earned money.
And this is what they do with a lot of people. I've spoken about my brother's situation up here several times. That is really starting to come to a head because he's finally gone through all his paperwork, and what we discovered is he was actually
kidnapped.
He was kidnapped
by the police.
The day of the event, he was actually just taken to the hospital because he was having a medical emergency, and that was recognized. He was on a medical hold, and before anything happened, before any indictments, anything, he was kidnapped by law enforcement.
A judge forged his signature on arraignment papers.
Yes, a judge forged his signature on the arraignment papers, and then he was locked up for 1.5 years and tortured. So they're actually torturing my family members now. These people are insane. So we're trying to do everything we can, but one of the things me and my husband have come to realize about society here today is nobody learns anything in the schools. Kids aren't learning civics. They're not learning communication. They're not learning legal or financial literacy. They're not learning CPR. They're not learning first aid. They're not learning basic gun safety. They're not learning their own constitution. Now, why are our schools set up like this? Because people are coming out in droves, not being able to function in society because they don't have any basic skills. You know, one way we could calm down all these school shootings is actually to teach gun safety in schools. Because in a country like America where there's guns everywhere and we have a Second Amendment, it's in the Constitution, that cannot be infringed. So my suggestion is let's start giving people the tools they need so they know how to deal with a gun when they come into contact with one, for starters.
That's the same thing for the legal system, folks.
Right.
We have a constitution and rights, but what good is any of that stuff if you don't know how to use it?
Yeah, me and my husband, we've sat in some courtrooms, and I mean, just the other day we were down there with my brother, and we are watching American citizens drown left and right because they don't know anything about the system they exist in. And I think that's all by design, and it needs to stop. We're not giving our kids any skills to be adults, and we're not entrusting them to be adults. I think all the things I mentioned are things children can learn, and it's things adults need to learn too.
Yeah, because we don't know it, folks.
Communication, nonviolent communication should be a central piece of every educational experience. I mean, I really think that they should just be picking two kids, giving them, some kind of situation, having them stand up and work it out non-violently right in front of the class. Because people need to start practicing nonviolent communication because people don't know how to communicate anymore. And that's why our elected officials don't come down and talk to me and my husband, because they're not adults and they don't know how to communicate. So they don't know how to have a conversation about the stuff that they did.
And they do not know how to deal with problems, folks. They think that dealing with problems is ignoring problems.
Right.
Okay? And they're trying to blink their problems away. And they're trying to frustrate the people that they have created problems for so that they may go away themselves. But folks, that's not going to happen. And that doesn't happen when you're dealing with responsible people.
Right, and we need to start churning out some responsible citizens. So I do call on all the schools to reevaluate what you are teaching kids. Because people they're not learning how to even navigate in this world. So we're not getting anything done. We're just kind of running on a hamster wheel, and that needs to stop. We've been pursuing this issue with our daughter for 16 years, and I mean, we haven't even gotten an apology. We haven't even gotten an apology. See, people think they can just run around and do whatever they want, and they don't even have to apologize. And I'm just explaining to you, you can apologize now, or you can apologize, later, or you can run for the rest of your life, but you are going to have to apologize because this is not okay. And, especially since the burning of our daughter, always falls around Easter. Sometimes it even falls on Easter. And what happened to her was so horrific. I mean, it's easy for all of you to sit there and wonder why we're doing what we're doing, but we watched this child suffer, and we watch her suffer now because she has lifetime injuries that nobody wants to help her with. Nobody wants to apologize. It's just disgusting. I mean, the medical community should be all over this, but no, they're busy, selling people things they don't need when they come to the doctor, which is also so unacceptable, because whatever happened to the oath of do no harm, I don't know. But there's a lot of things right now happening to children that should not be happening to children because they cannot consent. Kids cannot consent. Period, point blank.
We used to understand that.
We used to understand
that. There used to be a common understanding.
I think I've been thinking about this. I think we rolled back the age of consent because a few people might need an abortion. And now people just go and do whatever they want. And now we've got a 13-year-old suing Kaiser because they cut her breasts off when she was 13. People need to be given time to grow up before they make decisions. I have no problem with somebody who has reached the age of majority, you know, and who has been given the skills to operate as adult, making the choices they want to make, because I think that's fair, and that kind of goes for everything as long as you're not hurting anybody. But this has gotten out of hand. And these experiments that are going on with children, this needs to stop. Because again, I'm just going to say it, kids cannot consent. So if you hurt a kid, I am absolutely certain that there's a price to pay for that.
And you need to be held responsible. And you need to hold yourself accountable.
And you will be held responsible. If you're not held responsible here because you think you got away with it, I'm telling you, you did not get away with it. Because if you've hurt a child like that, you won't be able to face God, so you won't be seeing God ever. You know what I'm saying? You will run for the rest of your life because you're not going to want to have to explain that to God. They can't even explain it to me and my husband what they did here. They're too afraid to talk to us. So imagine when these people meet their maker. That's going to be awkward. I don't think they're going to be able to do it. So that's why I think hell is a choice. So, and that's what's going on right now in Portland. We are choosing to build a hellhole because we keep following the people around who are building a hellhole. Why Ted Wheeler has not had to step down yet? I don't know. The government here in Oregon, it's very suspicious. Just because the media is covering this up doesn't make it any less real. So,
and that doesn't make what happened here okay.
And it doesn't, that's uncovered.
No, it's okay.
Oh, okay. And it eventually, someone's going to have to pay the piper on this one. There's just too much evidence of what occurred here. So denial is really not an option. And
you can keep on, running like you have somewhere to go, but folks, you're going to wind up. You're running in a circle, and you're going to wind up right where you started, folks.
Exactly.
We are not going away. Okay, I don't care how much people complain about us. We are not going to go away until this is dealt with in a responsible and appropriate manner.
Yeah, I'm really tired of the treatment of women on this planet, just in general. It's not just here in American society, but I think it's horrific that we have millions of women locked up in Afghanistan right now and no one even talks about them. They're locked up like livestock in the modern world. They can't go anywhere. There's nobody championing their rights, okay? And, there's some real brutal cultures still here existing on this planet today.
And this is 2023.
This is 2023. I just watched a video of a Muslim woman from Lebanon. She slit her own daughter's throat after her daughter was raped and assaulted because she felt her daughter was dishonoring her. So that needs to change. We need to have a whole different attitude towards women, girls, and just diversity in general. Trans women, trans men, everybody deserves a space. And that's where me and Posey Parker really part ways. Is I am an advocate of separate spaces, but I'm advocating separate spaces because I think that trans men and trans women need spaces where they can go. Spaces,
to feel safe.
Yes, spaces created for them, just like women have, just like men have. We need to recognize these people in our society and then, be good to them and give them the things that they need to be happy and healthy as well.
And allow them to build some camaraderie.
And yes, I don't see any spaces for them. I think they need their own professional sports league. And I think, we need to start adding bathrooms, prisons, whatever you need to add. I think it's about creating space for people, not pushing people into boxes. And that's what I see going on right now is we've got every school in the country teaching that you can leave the binary and nowhere for you to go. You know what I'm saying? So people who want to experiment with this, before getting pills and surgery, they should have places to go. And even if you get pills and surgery, you should still have places to go where you can have camaraderie. Sometimes these surgeries go wrong. People aren't, maybe things aren't happening, unfolding the way they want them to, and they need community too for things that women won't understand or men won't understand. So that's my take on it. I am not for segregation at all. I just think everybody kind of needs their own spaces. I don't appreciate Posey being out there saying that, you know, the trans community here is not receptive, and that, you know, all trans women are con men and all these nasty, crappy things that she says. Because none of it's true.
Folks, I want you to know that anybody that goes around fomenting hate is not a leader.
No.
Okay, and you should not be following them because you will follow them into a ditch.
Yeah.
Okay? So people like Hitler, okay, that's what you get.
Yeah,
okay?
these nasty people, they stand around making suggestions and then everybody just goes along with it. I'll tell you where Posey's taking her followers straight to Gilead, okay? Straight to Gilead, straight to a far-right hellhole. You know, and
yeah, because you cannot swing the pendulum that far and expect it to be, you know, to wind up somewhere in the middle. We need neutrality, okay? Yes. We don't need to be on the left or the right. We need to be somewhere in the middle for the majority of people to get along here on this, in this society.
Yeah, we need
on
to
this planet.
We need to walk a straight path, and I think it can be done. And it's very, very divisive, like I said, for this woman to be on TV, first of all, acting like I don't exist, because I've been out here for almost 2.5 years with my husband. And second of all, you know, pretending to stand for women when in fact she just wants to get them all locked up like the women in Afghanistan, actually. We need to start caring for each other.
And that's the only thing that we need to be doing, folks. That's the only thing that should be going on this planet with our race of beings is we need to be caring for each other. And that is not happening.
That's the place where me and my husband are always coming from when we're looking at, you know, the problems that are going on in the world and, you know, learning from being out here in Raleigh, everything that happened with our daughter, the whole 9 yards. We are always thinking of ways to, you know, stop arguments, help people communicate, and make places safer, you know. So that's what's going on this week.
Folks, and the only way that kind of action begins is with conversation. Okay, we need discussion. We need to open up. We need a new agreement on what matters here on this planet, because we don't have an agreement on what matters here. Not anything that matters, not anything that's real, nothing genuine.
Yeah, and people are really being hurt by it. So
thank you.
Thank you. People are really being hurt by it, and I know we can change this. I'd love to see Portland be the place that actually, you know, creates a model where, you know, people are actually doing this. And I'd love to do something positive with Portland and with everybody here in Portland, because I really believe we can do a positive activity together. And I'm willing, me and my husband are willing to continue to stand up to these people that are spreading hate. Like I said, it really upsets me to see this woman in the media saying the things she's saying, because it's putting the LGBTQ community in other countries where, you know, they are not accepted at all. You know, they look over here and they see all the arguing and the fighting, and then people in these really authoritarian countries where gay people and trans people are killed, okay? We're getting these people killed in other countries because they see the arguing on TV. People don't realize this is going on in front of our adversaries. This is going on in front of people who use that type of footage against their own people, and then they murder them. So I want everybody to think about that, you know, especially, you know, our allies in the LGBTQ community, because I think there's a few things we could do to calm some of this stuff down. I think putting an over 18 sticker on these drag events, you know, drag queens don't go to anything that's where kids are, because people just use that against you, okay? And we need to start identifying who is really an ally to the LGBTQ community and who's trying to tear the community down. I think these people that are taking these jobs, performing for kids and doing these inappropriate things, they're doing it to get people killed. And it's very easy to masquerade as something you're not.
Well, unfortunately, I think that they're doing it for money.
Well, yeah.
Okay, but the people who are paying them are doing it to get people killed.
And I love that my husband totally had my back on that, because that's exactly what I meant.
Folks, and that's the problem with money. It's the same, folks.
You can get manipulated.
Yeah, you can be manipulated, okay? because we don't have an agreement that people matter here on this planet, unfortunately, people can be paid to hurt other people.
Yeah. And another thing I want to talk about is all the stuff that's being banned right now. It seems to me that there's a lot of things being banned, especially on the alt-right, that were never legal in the first place. My position is if you have been operating on anybody under the age of 18 with these surgeries, the gender-affirming surgeries, that's not okay behavior. I think those doctors should be in jail, quite frankly. Kids cannot consent. I can't say that enough, because a lot of pushback we've gotten, from our daughter being hurt is like, it was her fault. She was in the way, yada, yada, yada. I don't want to hear it. Kids cannot consent. Once you turn 18 and you're an adult and and hopefully you've gone to a school where you've learned some actual skills in terms of turning into adult.
But we're not sure about that. That's not something that's happening here in any common way on this planet.
It's not happening because we're not teaching the things, like I said, we're not teaching civics, communication, legal, financial literacy, basic first aid, CPR, and gun safety. Every American needs to be learning that, period, point blank. Those are the classes we need to add.
Not going on here, folks.
Those classes should be added at all stages. Kids can be learning to defend themselves. They can be learning to, and they should be learning to take care of each other. See, if you were going out into the world and you knew that every person had basic safety training and you knew that every person had basic gun safety training, I think we'd all be nicer to each other.
It might be a safer place.
Because we would all have the tools to defend ourselves. And what I see is when people get targeted and they don't have the tools to defend themselves, they just get annihilated. And I'd like to see that stop.
Folks, but what my wife is talking about, in order for that to happen, we would first have to make an agreement that every person here on this planet matters, and we're not even having that conversation.
Yep, so we have a long way to go.
But that is an important understanding, folks. That's an important understanding that we, first of all, need to start talking about, okay? In order to make that agreement that people on this planet actually matter, we need to start talking about that. And we're never going to do that if we keep on trying to get rid of any voice or suppress any voice that's trying to have that conversation.
One of the things that I like to say that I wish that my kids had been taught in school anyway, and I think it's something that we should start teaching, is kids need to learn that another kid is a lifeline. So the person sitting next to you in your classroom is a lifeline because they live with you in your society. So they're going to be the doctor. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be the policeman. They're going to be the person, possibly be the person you need when you are in trouble. So that's why we need to get more people fit to be actually living in society. And we need to start getting our kids the tools they need so we can live here together and stop arguing. And I think we can get that done. I really do. So we're going to wrap it up, but we do wish everybody a happy Passover. We hope we've given you something to reflect on. We will be back here on the very somber day of Good Friday to commemorate the crucifixion of Jesus Christ.
Well, we won't be back here. We'll be downtown.
No, we'll be downtown. That's what I meant.
But we'll be back here next week, folks.
But we'll be back here next week, and we will be obviously commemorating the anniversary of the burning of our daughter that day. April 12th, 2007 was the day that changed our life forever. So we will see everybody next week. Do you want to do that?
Folks, we're gonna leave you with this because this is the understanding that we're trying to establish here on this planet with our race of beings, okay? Because it's not a common understanding, and you need to know it. Here it goes. I am the value.
I am the value.
You are the value.
You are the value.
We are the value.
We are the value.
We're not talking about money, folks. We're not talking about gold or silver. We're not talking about cryptocurrency or any kind of digital anything kind of currency. None of that stuff. Nothing you can find on the stock market. We are talking about your actual life. Okay? That's the only thing that actually literally matters. Okay, so let's go. Let's go for it, okay? And maybe at some point you're going to want to join in with us because it's important for you to say this to yourself and to each other. Here it goes. I am the value, you are the value, we are the value. I am the value, you are the value, we are the value. I am the value, you are the value, we are the value.
Okay, thank you, Multnomah Village. And again, we do give the glory to Jesus Christ and God for saving our daughter. And we look forward to Friday. We're grateful for the opportunity to be able to speak and be out here doing this.
And
so,
folks, like I said, we're not going to leave you alone because God's not going to leave you alone, okay?
That's right.
There was some serious spiritual decay and rot going on here on this planet, and God doesn't like it. I can assure you that.
We're gonna try to work it out, and we're gonna try to fix it. So God bless everybody, and we'll see you next week for week 93, and we will be downtown for week 120. I think it'll be pretty special. Because, like I said, we don't plan these rallies. They just come to us, and you know, the rally this time, for this next week, is landing on some very significant days. So thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Multnomah Village.
Okay.